has had a significant amount of the impervious surface removed, and all of it will be removed ultimately, except the one little pavilion structure. By doing that, we actually have less surface water runoff than the Baptist camp had with all of its smaller buildings and its larger buildings that were on this parcel. From Crystal Flash Road south, curb and gutter, in my opinion, simply enhances the flow of water that ultimately goes on to the developed parcel. Now, as you look at the plat, you can see we've got areas that are being maintained as common areas. The larger one is one through which a ravine runs. To the east of this property, there is a county ditch, but it ends at 252 Lane, or T52 Lane.
Is that the lane right at the top of the hill, Steve?
Pardon?
I can't remember. That's the lane right at the top of the hill, right before you start down. There's a lane.
Yeah.
Okay. T52.
It's T52. And on the west side of that, the county ditch isn't there. There is a natural ravine. The large common area that you see in the northwest corner, this area, all naturally wooded. There's a ravine that essentially comes from here. County ditch ends right here. This ravine carries surface water.
He's not.
Thanks, Matt.
We're preserving that because it serves as a detention for that water that's coming out of the county drain and heading towards the lake, and filters it. And it filters it until it gets essentially down here and goes over property adjacent to the west. If we put curb and gutter all the way down here, and eliminate this, because one of the recommendations was that this common area be paved, all we're doing is speeding up surface water. We have no way to filter it. This is proposed to be a grassy area. It has an outlet that goes over this common area into the lagoon here. Side ditches serve a very significant purpose for lakefront development, and that is filtering that surface water that we know is going to be coming down the new road and getting the sediment, if any, out of it before it ever gets to the lake. And I know one of the bigger problems that was discussed was the Crow's Nest subdivision on Long C and the problems that arose with it. But it wasn't an improper design, it was improper construction. And it was the failure to properly install and maintain those side ditches before the water got to the areas that were draining into the lake. One of those areas, as originally designed, was specifically for filtering the water that came off Crow's Nest Drive. And the engineer who designed it made a rather significant swale with all kinds of things to slow down the surface water during a heavy rainstorm. And a neighbor came along, put in a 10-inch tile in at the end of that road, which eliminated all of that filtering and just shot the water during construction of that project directly into the lake. No filtering whatsoever. That's what we don't want to do here, is have something that just shoots water directly into the lake. We know the lakefront lots, the way the land's there's surface water is going to go over the lake, period. But these lots back here, we can control and filter before it gets to here and ultimately into the lake here. If we eliminate all that filtering, speed up the water runoff, we may never exceed what already is being done was being done with Baptist camp structures. That's an engineer's calculation. But we know we're actually discharging less surface water, even with the new stream, than the Baptist camp was as it was originally constructed. If we have these side ditches all along this, including around the loop and the center as a detention area, to be able to filter all that before it ever gets to the lake. Otherwise, we're looking at a massive increase in expense, but we're also looking at collecting surface water off these houses and driveways, shooting it down this road, and finally trying to find somewhere to put a rather significant detention area in to create the filter. Naturally, this filters all this water. Some of this water here comes back into this, so that's going to have some natural filtering as well. If we have side ditches and they're properly installed, I forget what they call them, they're breaks, stone piles, like
Rock dams.
that simply go in the side ditch to decrease the flow, the speed of the flow through that, enhancing the filtering of those side ditches and slowing the water runoff that ultimately gets to the lake. We have curbs and gutters, we lose all of them. And that water is going to shoot down that road because it's a significant drop by the time you get to common area C and out into the lagoon through common area B. We prefer that we simply have the side ditches to enhance recreation. Put them in. The engineers already designed them. You're looking at the plat. This is all the specifics, flows, how it's designed, how it is calculated based upon surface water runoff, what the drainage capacity will be, what the topography is. That's all been designed by Water Associates to take care of this using side ditches. We just think it's the best benefit we can have for James Lake to filter this more than it could be filtered, even with a large detention area. We're still not going to have the lateral or the lineal filtering that's available through the side ditches all the way along the street. I understand Steve's position. I think he maybe has backed away a little bit, but from the top of the hill down to common area C, he's still looking at curbs and gutters. I think that area could be more enhanced. Installation of the culverts as houses are built on these 6 lots. We know what the standards are. Meet the standards. Then there's no problem. What we really want to be able to do is capture that water, filter it, slow it down with those breaks, let it go through the culvert under each one of those 6 driveways, so that ultimately it gets down to the lake after it's been filled.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Anyone else here to speak in favor of or in opposition to? Hearing none, we'll close it to the public and have our discussion. What's your thoughts, gentlemen?
I think that, I agree with what Steve said. I've driven the site and looked at it and,
Steve
I'm
Moriarty.
sorry, Moriarty. We'll use last names. It's Moriarty, yes. Thank you for clarifying that.
You're welcome.
But after looking at it, there is a very significant drop. I forget, Kerry, you said that.
Yeah, there's 80-foot of drop from where it hits T52 down to that turnaround or cul-de-sac at the end. So I mean, it's a 4.5% slope, that whole section of street going down to that. So I mean, it's significant.
And if you do side ditches and you do check dams, that's all good and well, but I mean, they get filled in. It does, I mean, we can't police that forever. They just, my mower bottoms out, I can't mow the bottom of it, so they fill them in. I mean, it just happens. If we have curb and gutter, we catch it, send it to a detention area, and then I think Steve Moriarty, sorry to call you Barrel, but I mentioned before too that, you can have that same filtering through riprap or whatever type filtering system where it discharges from the detention area into the lake to filter it out. Plus it has time to settle in there with the capacity in there. So I don't think they need curb and gutter all the way back to Crystal Flash Road, but I think from the top of the hill at at EMS T52 down, they need it. And I'm not willing to compromise on that standard.
I would agree with your statement, Brad, and probably even add some additional requirements from a perspective of just looking at the stormwater calculations and just, I mean, Tippy or Lake James is a huge natural asset to our community. We want to make sure that any of the water that's going into there is properly filtered as before it hits that. So, I mean, trying to come up with a plan of some sort of additional retention and slow release and filtering of that water needs to be part of the plan. The other thing that's not on any of the drawings currently that they show the topography of what it's going to look like once the street's constructed, but they really don't show what it's going to look like when the houses are constructed, because I think some of the experiences we've had on other developments is as the property gets developed, they move all the dirt around on the lots, and then that water goes different directions or increases the velocity at which it comes into this right away. Because currently, if you look at those elevations, there's some of that street that's 20 feet above what the house lot's going to be. So, I mean, there's going to be some of these driveways are going to be very steep coming down to that street. So that velocity just continues to grow on the amount and the speed at which it's going to come into that right away. So I think it's just important that we make sure that we've had a real holistic view of not only what it's currently going to be, what's it going to be when the streets are built, but what's it going to be when the houses are built. And I know we're not going to know what each house lot is going to be in detail, but lots of times on plans, they'll give a rough elevation that they're expecting house elevation to be at a certain spot, just so you can start to get a feel for how those lots might be shaped into the future. So I think there's a lot of work that I still feel like needs to be done that, you know, I would suggest with the recommendations we have that we would send it back to area plan and their tech committee and our engineer to make sure we're getting everything we need to protect the lake. But, you know, I realize this is going to be a big win for the county from a perspective of adding 12 lots to build on. So, I mean, there's a lot of assessed value that's going to be added there. So I don't want to be against development, but we need to be responsible in how we develop it in a way that doesn't affect the lake and or neighboring property owners.
Well, I mean, even your city subdivisions, that are much different houses a lot of times have curb and gutter. So it's not like it's cost prohibitive.
Mm-hmm. Since the area plan meeting, I've made it a task of mine to go around the different communities in the county, and every housing addition I went into that had curbs and gutter, as immediately after you enter that subdivision, you come to grips with, because I'm looking for it. It's not, and you come to grips with the fact that nice concrete curbs and gutters and the grass from the lawns come up to the edge of the concrete, that it looks nicer. It's a lot better maintained. The curb appeal, as far as the aesthetics of the subdivision, looks so much cleaner and fresher. And I had a couple of subjects that I talked to that lives in this housing addition south of town, off of 15, and they're upset continuously because they don't have curbs and gutters. The standard wasn't there when they built, and the neighbors, one end of their lot they mow, the other end they can't because someone's filled it in or sediment is ran in there, and they get stuck with their lawnmower every time they mow. And the neighbor fills his in with a flower bed, and the guy next to him brings in railroad ties, and he wants that, and the other guy brings in rocks. Next thing you know, the roadway is being deteriorated because the water can't get away from the roadway, and that creates real hassle for the highway department. And
Especially when
for
you
us
come in and try to clean it.
for us as
in a
taxpayers.
grassy yard.
Yeah, so that's quite a large subdivision, and they were just, I asked the specific question, if you could go to curbs and gutters, would you? And they, without a doubt, they would love to do that. So that's,
I mean, spread over the 12 lots that are there. I mean, I think it's we're being a good steward of the lake if we do that.
okay.
So are you ready for a motion?
I'm ready. Chair's ready for a motion.
I would make a motion that we do not change our ordinance as far as curb and gutter from the top of the hill down, that we do require that from T52 to the bottom, and basically then send it back to area plan to review with those parameters. I would encourage them to have Matt and Steve Moriarty meet, so they don't do any design that's not going to meet the standards. And there's concern about the slope of the cul-de-sac, and there's concern about, this is part of the motion, The common area being grass, you have just different concerns on that. So I'd recommend a conversation to save money. So.
That's his motion.
I would second that. The only thing, Brad, I just want to make sure that the other thing I think that's key, not only the curb and gutter, but I guess that detention, that there's a true detention area and a true filtering strip for that water to get to the lake. I know that I think our criteria, states that, but to me, those are really key things. I mean, I think there is definitely some other things in the slope of the cul-de-sac and where some of that stuff's located that needs to be worked out. But I think the detention basin and then that filtering of that outlet out of that detention basin is going to be, our foremost.
I would add that
Okay.
to my motion.
Okay. No further discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. All opposed? None. The motion passes.
Thank you, guys.
You
Thanks,
sufficiently confused now?
Always.
Here we go.
I think that's an excellent idea, and yeah, I've, offered to put together with his engineer, Steve Moriarty, and then, our engineer, to try and work through some of those components as well.
We don't want to do things that aren't necessary either. Do what's necessary and don't.
Thank you.
Okay, any office holder or department head have anything for the commissioners today?
Morning, Mike.
Good morning. So I come before the commissioners today for approval to purchase a Chevy Tahoe administrative vehicle out of commissary from Kelly Chevrolet for $50,795.
Okay, then you had a secondary, you'd have other
We
bids?
did, we reached out to another dealership for a Ford Expedition, and the price on that was $59,978, so almost really close to exactly $900 more.
9,000.
Or 9,000, I'm sorry,
yeah.
$9,000 more.
That's,
So we purchased a vehicle from Kelly Chevrolet. It went well. And for the $9,000 savings, I recommend that we purchase from them again.
okay,
And you've tried to keep it local, but this is where we're at. So
Correct.
make sure
Yes.
that's known.
to be-
And Kelly Chevy has the state bid, so this is priced through the state bidding program as well.
Very good.
I would make a motion that we approve it.
Second that.
Moving second, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you for your due diligence. Be safe out there. County Attorney Ed Ormsby,
No public report.
County Administrator Marcia McSherry.
I have nothing today, thank you.
Very good.
A day in history.
County Auditor Rhonda Helser.
I just have one question on the not-for-profits. I just want a clarification. You're approving or recommending all of the 7 from prior 2024 to be the same amounts?
Yes.
Because there were
that
actually
was the
8
motion.
not-for-profits, so that last one will not be going forward, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, the one that was added is not.
Okay, I just want to clarify that.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ron.
Thank you, Rhonda. Any further business coming before the commissioners? Sir, step forward and give us your name. Good morning, welcome.
Morning.
Step to the microphone and tell us your name and state your business, please.
I'm Herschel Rainwater. I live by Chapman Lake, and I have a real problem with the Better Business Bureau. We have none. We have no Better Business Bureau, and my arm was destroyed. It's a whole nother story. This business, gentlemen, I want to give you maps.
Watch out, Steph. A lot of people don't see that.
Gentlemen, if you will.
Yeah.
How can we make heads and tails of this? We have no Better Business Bureau here in this county. It's in Fort Wayne or South Bend. There's no protection against consumers here and providers. We have no place to go. My car was destroyed by a business here. I went to the small claims court and a lawyer wanted $1,500 to take my case. I can't afford that. It's ridiculous that we do not have a Better Business Bureau here. I was informed that, no, they moved it to South Bend or they moved it to Fort Wayne. And all they have to do is delete the problem. We need a Better Business Bureau here in this courthouse or in the Justice Building. It's as simple as that. They moved it away from us. And it gets to be really frustrating because the general person, the actual public, we don't know what to do. We don't know where the protection is against unscrupulous businesses. We have no word in it at all. And we're all county taxpayers. We want good representation here in this county, not in Fort Wayne, not in South Bend. It's very important that we have this because the older people, it seems it keeps getting harder and harder. And I went to the small claims court with this, and a lawyer wanted $1,500 to take my case. And my car was only worth $5,000. And now the car is junk. Why? Because there's no resolve. We have no place to go. We have nothing to see. And I've been fighting this now almost this full year. And I don't know what to do. Where are we going with this? I don't know.
Herschel, I think, and I don't want to put you on the spot, and it's kind of an obscure thing, but what knowledge do you have of this?
Better Business Bureau is a private 501c6 organization. It does not have any affiliation with the county or with any governmental entities. So we don't have control over the location of Better Business Bureaus or whether one is here in the county or not.
What I thought, but I wanted to make sure.
That's the point I'm making, sir. We have no protection against unscrupulous businesses here. We have no protection. We have no word. We have no voice.
Yeah, as far as the location of the Better Business Bureau, I mean, obviously you could contact them and ask for that location. There are other review programs, business reviews, Google reviews and the like, that can be accessed for businesses as well, but that's not part of what the county government does.
And the Better Business Bureau would not get involved in the legality of like
No.
getting Herschel's card fixed or something like that. They would just give them a black eye
This,
for Herschel's review, right? Is that
Correct.
correct?
Correct.
So
What's the cost of your repairs and maintenance you had?
the cost is unbelievable. I had the car junked. It's in Milford or someplace like that now being repaired. I don't know where the car is.
Do you still own it?
No, I've given it up. I sold it for a small pittance of what the car was really worth.
Okay.
And that's the point I'm trying to make, gentlemen. There is no protection for we, the consumer. Where do you take it? Take it to South Bend, all they have to do is delete it. You take it to Fort Wayne, they delete it. We need a Better Business Bureau here in this county, in this courthouse, or in the Justice Building.
But you're asking us to do something we can't do.
Pardon me?
I hear what you're saying, but you're asking us to do something that we don't have the authority, from my understanding, to do.
You are the commissioners of this county. You have full authority in this county. The head of this county is called the sheriff, the shire reef. All right? And it stems from the beginning of our country. The sheriff has the power to do what he has to do for justice. And the commissioners are here as our commissioners of this county. Where's the protection? There is none. All they have to do is delete it in Fort Wayne or South Bend. We need a Better Business Bureau here in this courthouse or in the Justice Building, so we can come and voice our grievances. It's as simple as that.
And that's what we're allowing you to do, Herschel. From my perspective, when you take your vehicle to a repair shop, number one, it's incumbent upon you as the owner of that vehicle. You're the guys going to be responsible for paying for that vehicle.
Absolutely.
If you take it to the shop that doesn't do you a good job or doesn't fix your problem, the relief is that you go to small claims. And if that takes $1,500 to require an attorney, that's the cost of repairing and mitigating your loss. And that's you as an American citizen, and that's up on you to make sure that you make those decisions that best suit your situation. Get an estimate, and if it's too much, you go somewhere else. There might be someone down the road that can do the job for the money that you can afford to put into it. If they put the repairs on it and the repairs are not proper, the car doesn't run after you get it back, the relief is small claims, and that's an expense that you have to bear. There's nobody around that I know of that will help me repair my car if it gets broken. That's why if you watch TV very much, it's flooded now with these places where you can buy protection, and they show a transmission comes in, it was dead on arrival. You can buy insurance policies to protect yourself from that type of thing. And as near as I know, unless somebody knows something I don't, that's the way the system works. You have your repairs, and you have to mitigate those with who you can get to do it for what you can afford, and that's the way it works. I don't know that it works any different.
Yeah.
It's
And I know,
good.
Herschel, I know you from way back. I mean, you know,
Thank you,
years
sir.
ago. And I know this about you. You are hardcore conservative, and government, that's not, I mean, we're not a Better Business Bureau, and we don't police that kind of stuff. I mean, that's outside the realm of our government.
Yes, Fred. But the thing is, we have no say-so in the county.
But what Ed's saying with the new technologies, which I'm going to be honest, I'm not a Google review person because it's above my whatever pay grade, but there are even better with social media and stuff now, ways to get word out when there is a concern.
I'm not going to mention any names here about the garage that destroyed my car. All right? I'm not going to accuse anyone of anything, but I have the proof right here. All right? And now, when I come in front of the commissioners, I get this. You can't, we need a Better Business Bureau right here in this courthouse or in that Justice Building. That's why we have to have it, so we can come and voice our opinions. All they have to do is, like I said, is delete it if it gets over there. Why should that county or this or any other county take on the responsibility of Kosciusko County? Why? All they have to do is delete it. They don't want to hear our problems. They have their own problems to solve. What am I to do? The car is now junk, and it was a beautiful car.
That's tough.
And I have to face that. And I was trusting this business to fix my car just to tune it up and change the oil. And they destroyed it.
But even if, I'm not trying to be argumentative, but I'm just being honest, even if we had a Better Business Bureau in this county, it can't go in this, it's not part of the government, so it can't be housed here. That's just not, can't happen. But if we did have one and you made a complaint, that's still not gonna fix your car. That's just gonna give that guy one black mark, which you can do, like Ed said, on Google Review. You can do it on all kinds of social media. More so than, I think, the Better Business Bureau. Would you agree with that or not?
Yes.
I mean, you could put more of a black mark on a business if you felt violated by them through social media than the Better Business Bureau ever could. I think maybe we're not, like Stephen Covey's book about make sure your ladder's leaned against the right building. I think the Better Business Bureau isn't the building we need to have our ladder leaned against in this case. I think you've got other approaches that will serve you better. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong.
Right.
Herschel, when you go to court, you have to have evidence.
Absolutely.
It appears to me as though the avenue, if it was me and I felt the way you do, I would take that evidence to court. If it cost me $1,500, you could recoup that through the court, I believe. Ed, is that correct? If you have real costs,
Sure, sure you can if you've proven your case, but it should also be noted that it's not required that you have an attorney to
Yeah.
pursue the small claims
You
matter
could represent
either.
yourself in small claims.
And that's called pro se, right?
Correct.
Right. I've already tried this. It don't work. Because all I have to do is delete it. And that's what's happened to me. My car was destroyed and now I have to rely on my old pickup truck to get from point A to point B.
Or so I'm not sure you and Ed were communicating. Ed's saying you yourself can go to small claims court and represent yourself. You don't
Right.
have to have an attorney.
Right, I realize
Have
this.
you already done that?
No, I've checked on it and,
I think if anybody could do it, represent themselves, you could.
with the evidence you say you've got, my opinion, that's the way I would go.
Represent yourself. Pay
I've
the
been trying to
$1,500.
fight this now since almost the beginning of the year.
Try that.
I know
Small claims
you
court.
and I talked on the phone, Herschel, and I gave you some recommendations then, and
Right.
seems like, did you follow up on those recommendations with going to the business and that type of thing?
I've been through everything, Bob, that you told me to do.
Okay.
Brad?
I'm saying small claims court.
Yeah, right.
Me too. Okay,
As pro se.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know exactly what will happen.
Well, you don't know what'll happen until you try it.
There you go.
okay. Thank you,
Try it.
Herschel. We appreciate your input. Hope we were able to help you a little bit. There you go. Take a deep breath, relax.
Thank you, Commissioners.
You're welcome. Nothing further? We'll see you back here in 2 weeks. Thank you.